welcome to the Basic Income Podcast. I'm Owen Poindexter.
And I'm Jim Pugh.
Recently, as listeners of this podcast will know, the Ontario Basic Income Trials, there was an announcement that they would be canceled. Now, as of now, we have no details about when or how that's going to happen, and so the recipients of basic income are pretty much left in limbo, wondering if they're going to get their payment the next month, the next year, and so on. And since the announcement, a photographer named Jessie Golem started a project called Humans of Basic Income, in which she takes photos of basic income recipients in Ontario, holding up a sign with a sentence or two about what basic income has meant to them. And since then, the project has completely taken off.
I had a chance to sit down with Jessie and talk to her about her experiences with this project and where she sees it going.
So here's Jim and Jessie Golem on the Basic Income Podcast.
Jessie, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Now, you run the Humans of Basic Income project, which is telling stories of participants in the Ontario Basic Income pilot.
Yes.
But beyond that, you're actually enrolled in the program yourself, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Can you tell us a bit about what your experience has been before and during the pilot?
Yeah, so I worked 4 jobs before signing up for the pilot. So I signed up in December and I found out I got approved in February. And yeah, I was working 4 jobs. So it's basically like I was up early in the morning and just working nonstop between all of my jobs and not really having time to make meals for myself, or like I'm just going home just to sleep and shower and that's it and nothing else. And it was just a very, very exhausting and frustrating existence. And I was also finding that I was still just barely scraping by and still living paycheck to paycheck and still feeling like I didn't have time and the opportunity to pursue the things I want to do or focus my energies into the jobs I want to be doing. So when I got basic income, I dropped down from 4 jobs to 2 jobs. And those 2 jobs was both building and managing my own business as a freelance photographer. So advertising, booking photo projects, doing the thing I love. And also I'm the operations manager at Photographers Without Borders. And that's a rapidly growing organization. And in itself, it is a full-time job. So it needs the energy and time to devote to it. And basic income was buying me that energy and time to devote to growing PWB.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like exciting stuff. And it would be a very positive shift to be able to really focus your energies in that way. As I think all of our listeners know, last month, the new progressive conservative government of Ontario announced that they were canceling the pilot despite having promised that they would not do so during the election.
That is correct.
What was your reaction to that?
I was devastated. So before the pilot had gotten canceled, there's actually a series that the Huffington Post is putting out called No Strings Attached, where they were following a couple of different people in Ontario on the basic income pilot, and I was actually one of the subjects that they were going to be following. So they had produced a number of videos. One of the videos is out already. It's really good. It's about this couple in Lindsay that started their own business, and they hadn't done my video yet. So I was literally an hour before they made the cancellation. I was talking on Facebook with the editor at Huffington Post about planning the video and having the shoot ready and what we were going to do. And then literally an hour later, she messaged me and said, "So they're winding down the program. I'm really sorry." And I felt like the rug was just pulled out from underneath me, and I was devastated and furious. My dad called me later that day because he found out, and he was like, "Jessie, just be calm." And I just started crying because I was just so upset and so angry. And I realized that I have this relationship with Huffington, and I have a platform, and I have this ability, so I'm not going down without a fight. I want Doug Ford to know my name, and I want him to know how angry I am. So I wrote an opinion piece for Huffington Post. I did a number of radio interviews, and then I started contacting people in my city, which is Hamilton. So I went to Hamilton Roundtable for Poverty Reduction, and they ended up going to Queen's Park, where I participated in a press conference there. And then somewhere along that line, I got the idea for the portrait series. And this was both inspired by my work at Photographers Without Borders, because our big mandate is amplifying people's voices and using the power of visual storytelling to communicate